Hello again, cosmonauts, and welcome back to NovaStar International, our Kerbal Space Program career playthrough. Now, if you remember from the last episode, we were about to launch this bad boy, the NovaStar 3, up into, well, not space, the upper atmosphere, with a target of 22,000 meters. Now you may notice that I've actually added another fuel tank under here, and that's because I kind of figured that we might be a little short, so I figured it's better to just add a little bit more fuel and be on the safe side than to just risk it and potentially not achieve anything at all. We're also testing the LVT-45 liquid fuel engine, which we have here, and that should be completed as soon as we launch off. So let's turn the SAS on, let's throttle up, and one other thing before we launch, you may notice, yes, the launch pad, it's suddenly downgraded itself, and indeed, this is actually a level 1 launch pad, but if you remember correctly from the Kerbal Space Center overview, it did show as a level 3. That's just that bug I was talking about in the 64-bit version of the game. But anyway, let's launch off and see if we can reach our target. First of all, we will get ourselves the T-45 liquid fuel engine complete, and we'll get a little notification telling us that, and I'm going to quickly throttle down because we don't want to be traveling much faster than 100 meters per second in the lower atmosphere, and that's all the way up to 10,000 or a little bit over 10,000 meters. So just to conserve fuel, just to make sure we can reach our target, I'm going to be throttling down here to make sure that our speed isn't increasing too rapidly before we reach the 10,000 meter mark. So just throttling down, conserving fuel, and the reason for that is because in the lower atmosphere, below 10,000 meters, the air is a lot thicker, and if you're going too fast, you're going to have a lot more friction between your vessel and the atmosphere, which is essentially causing you to waste fuel. So if we just conserve fuel by going a little slower, then we'll reach up to the upper atmosphere, and then we can actually throttle up, or even just leave the throttle as it is, and we'll start gaining speed naturally. Of course, we're also going to gradually gain speed anyway, because as we burn through our liquid fuel, the weight of the vessel is going to decrease, and that is going to cause us to increase in speed because our thrust is actually remaining the same. In fact, as we go up, you can see our specific impulse is actually rising slightly, and that's because as we leave that atmosphere, we become a lot more efficient in our fuel usage. In fact, most big vessels that you will launch will use the majority of their fuel just escaping the atmosphere, and then once you get out there into outer space, once you leave the atmosphere entirely, you actually have to spend very little fuel to get around. So anyway, contract complete, and we got 6 science for that, which is fantastic. And now we're going to be aiming for that 22,000 meters mark. We're at 18,000 meters and climbing quite rapidly as well. I've got a feeling we're going to do it. Looking at how much fuel we've got left, it's quite tight. We're slowly but surely losing fuel, but we're also still gaining speed, and we'll cut the engines there because we don't want to go too far over 22,000 meters. Now let's do a quick crew report here, and we are in the upper atmosphere now, so hey, we have another kettle, and we again want another cup of tea. I can't blame him, but yeah, we'll keep that data, and unfortunately we can't do an EVA, which is a little bit of a shame. We're still actually climbing. In fact, we've made it all the way up to 27,500 meters now, but that's not too much of a problem, because we're on our way back down any minute with fuel to spare as well, which is certainly not too bad. So I'm going to speed things up here quickly, and as we come down we'll deploy our chutes as well. They won't actually deploy until we reach a certain atmospheric pressure, and that is obviously because the parachutes are going to be pretty useless if there's no air for them to resist against, I guess. So there we go, they're going to deploy, and we're going to just come down as fast as we can, and this time we didn't go and angle ourselves off towards the water or anything like that. We're going to land at KSP, although saying that, we have drifted slightly to the left, and that's because Kerbin is actually rotating below us. I don't know if it's rotating that fast, but regardless, we are going to land down somewhere over the Kerbal Space Center. Hopefully not on the Space Center. That would be awkward, to say the least. Hey, look, it's the astronaut complex. Let's go and pay them a visit. I think we're going to come down just to the left of that, which is all well and good. And in fact, once we do get down, if you remember correctly, these different complexes actually class as different biomes, so we're going to be able to get some more science data from that. In fact, while we're there, we may as well go and visit pay a visit to the flagpole. I don't think I've ever been this close to the flagpole before. So down we come at a nice slow speed of 5.7 meters per second, but I'm going to fire the engine slightly anyway, just to slow us even further. And touchdown! Good stuff. We made it, and we completed both of our contracts as well. Our little flag over there. Let's hop out and do an EVA. Hopefully, Mr. Jebediah here is not going to. Oh, hold on a sec. Let's just take the data here. Get back in. Do another crew report. Here we go. Crew report from KSP. And we can get out again. Now, hopefully, we're not going to die when we hit the floor here. It's quite a long drop. Oh, that must have hurt. He didn't even attempt to break his fall. But either way, we do an EVA now from the KSP. And let's walk over, or slowly potter over to that flag. My goodness me, it takes quite some time. Let's speed things up a little bit and go to the flagpole. Perhaps we'll be able to climb up. I doubt it though. Looks pretty difficult to climb that, but who knows? And I'm wondering, where the hell is our flag right now? This is the Kerbal Space Program flag, and this is definitely not the NovaStar International flag as we know it. So anyway, we'll do another EVA report here. Oh damn it, we can't. We have to drop it off first. I guess we'll leave it at that then. The Kerbal Space Program flag and the moon there in the distance. That rocket in the middle ground. That's cool. Let's recover our vessel and see what is next up. So, Kerbal Space Program, being glitchy as ever on the 64-bit version, decided to crash on me, but it's all fine. We can still recover our vessel here and see exactly how much science we gained from that. Not a whole lot, but most of the science, or some of the science that we gained, was actually from completing our contract, which is the main thing. So let's give that a next. Obviously, we get some funds back for returning back to the Kerbal Space Center, and we've got 52,000 now, so we're definitely starting to turn a bit of a profit. 32 sites as well, so let's check out the research and development complex and see what is available to us now. Now, these ones down here are a little expensive, 45 and 45 science for both. But we can definitely afford general rocketry, and that is going to give us a few more engines, a little bit more solid fuel boosters, and I think we should go for that, a bigger fuel tank as well, some separatrons, but I think we've got to do this eventually anyway, so we may as well get that, unlock a couple of more engines as well, and that's all good. So let's head back over to Mission Control to find yet another bunch of objectives, and in fact over here the one that immediately catches my eye is set an altitude record of 33,000 meters. We know we can already do that, and we know we can do that because we almost reached 33,000 in that last launch that we did, so we'll accept that one, and that's going to give us a bunch of funds and some prestige. And also, well, there's a few here actually. Let's see what we've got. Anything that says landed at Kerbin is a good one, but it does not seem like there are any. So we'll go for, let's see, what's the Sepratron one? We want you to test the Sepratron 1 in flight, and that's at 21,000 to 25,000 meters, going at 440 meters per second. Well, if we're going to be aiming for 33,000 meters, I think we could do that one quite easily. Just put a few Sepratrons around the edge of the vessel and then fire them off as we reach that height. We should be able to do that. We'll accept that one as well. And we get a little bit of bonus science for that as well there. So let's go back into our VAB and load up the NovaStar 3. Now we know that this vessel gets us to about, what does this one bring us to? This brings us to about, just under 30,000 at 2.45 meters, 2,456 meters per second delta V. So let's add a little bit more fuel. If in doubt, put more fuel on the thing. It's a good motto to live by, isn't it? There we go. And oops, put that on. What have we got now? 2,700 delta V. And I think that just is going to be enough, to be honest with you. We don't have to add too much more fuel to get too much higher. And for good measure, we'll add ourselves these Sepratrons as well, which we will fire off once we reach the correct altitude. Now, if we have a quick look here, It says, to perform the test, activate the part through the staging sequence, which is this thing on the right, once all the conditions are met. So once we get to 21,000 meters, and once we are traveling at 440 meters per second, which is more than doable, I'm sure. Now, we do actually have some more rockets over here, and let's have a quick look. We can have a check here on the right side. You see this engine ISP, 325 at atmosphere, and 370 in a vacuum. Now this is basically how efficient the engine is. The T45, which is one we're using now, has a 320 ASL, which is sort of atmospheric level, and it has this one here, sorry, the Wildcat, has 325 ASL, so that's going to be more efficient. And if we have a quick look, the total delta V of the vehicle at the moment is 2,680. Let's see if this will increase with this one. And okay, it's pretty much the same, but I think it's going to be better once we get out into the atmosphere. It's a very negligible difference, but it might help us, so we'll see. Let's save then and launch the NovaStar 4 in the attempt to set a new altitude record and test our Separatrons as well. So let's put that SAS on as ever. Let's make sure we've got our staging sequence right. My goodness, that almost went very badly wrong. I would have fired the Separatrons first if I didn't change that around. And let's launch off. Jebediah here, once again piloting this vessel. And that reminds me, I should really be starting to use other Kerbals in these little flights here, because they gain experience when they go on little flights, and at the moment we've only been using Jebediah, which means some of our astronauts are missing out on all important experience, flying experience. So anyway, we're off, and we're going to keep that throttle back as we start to gain speed, as we start to bust through the atmosphere. And I've got to say, I absolutely love the engines and the well, not so much the engines themselves, although they are pretty cool. The actual the fire, the super hot fire that comes out the back of these engines in the KW Rocketry pack. It's an awesome pack of parts, and I think they're fantastic. They're not too overpowered as well. You get a lot of these mods that add really overpowered things into the game, and that's not good. We want to be sticking with reasonable realism, keeping this whole thing a challenge for ourselves. So off we go. We're off to see the wizard. But yeah, we're throttled back, and we are still rising up. We're nearly at 10,000 meters, so we can start to throttle up fairly soon, and perhaps not necessarily throttle up, because we don't want to be going too fast once we reach 21,000 meters. But we'll see if we can do this. Obviously 33,000 is, well, we're already a third of the way there, and we should be fine. Obviously gaining speed very rapidly now, not using much fuel at all. We've got pretty high efficiency on this engine, 367 specific impulse and rising, which is always good. And we'll see what we're doing. We're nearly up to 21,000. Are we going to be going fast enough though to test these Separatrons? We do need to be going at 440, so I'm going to throttle up slightly here in the hope that we can raise our speed. 440, and we've fulfilled that. Fire the Separatrons here. That'll give us a big speed boost. Oh my god, 500 meters per second, and we'll cut the engine slightly there, because I think we're going to be able to achieve our altitude quite easily. Our speed's going to drop off very slowly as we get out of the atmosphere, and 33 meters has been achieved right about now. There we go. So that's 2 more contracts complete. We're still going up at a pretty high speed at the moment. In fact, we are potentially going to reach out of the upper atmosphere. And in fact, no, I take that back. I think we're going to slow down in time just to remain inside of the atmosphere. But let's have a check of our contracts there. 17,500 money. I don't even know if this money actually has a name for the currency. And 97 reputation, that's not bad, and also 6 science for testing our Separatron in flight, which is great, and also 106 reputation. So that's really boosted our reputation up quite high, and the higher your reputation is, the more opportunities you are going to have to test more parts, the more money, the more science you're going to earn for completing these contracts. So let's have a quick look at our world view here. We're nearly at apoapsis here. In fact, I think we've passed by it even. The apoap's there, 44,000 meters. Perhaps we went a little high, because if you remember, if you've noticed, there's a little pattern going on with these contracts. The first one was to set an altitude of 5,000, then it was 11,000, then 22,000, then 33,000, and because we've gone over 44,000 meters, I'm a little bit worried that we might miss an opportunity there to set an altitude record of 44,000 meters. We'll see what's available once we reach mission control, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. That's only a minor thing. Let's activate our parachutes and speed things up as we come to land just to the left of the Kerbal Space Center. We've drifted even further to the left now, or rather the Kerbal Space Center has drifted to our right, as that's kind of been what's moving below us. So again, we might be on a different biome here. Once we land down, I have a feeling we may be on grassland, which will give us opportunities to do more crew reports and another EVA. That'll be pretty good, in fact. And let's do a quick crew report here. We're still apparently over Kerbin's shores. I'm not sure how that works. This definitely doesn't look like the shore to me, but maybe the grassland starts where the dark green is over in the distance over there. So do another crew report just to check, because I mean, I don't want to miss out on any science possibilities here. We'll do another one now we're landed, and yes, we get another crew report there. Not bad. Doing an EVA is probably going to be worthwhile still, just to see if there's anything out here. Oh man, that's gotta hurt. Good job, these Kerbals are made of some very solid stuff. I don't think a spacesuit was necessary to get here, was it? No, we're in walking distance to KSP, but let's keep that and recover our vessel. Hopefully it's not going to crash on us again. We should be fine. This is going to recover our Kerbal. This is going to recover Jeb, and he's got 2.4 science on him. But we're also going to be able to recover the vessel as well, and I don't think we'll get much science for this at all. In fact, we got 1.5, which is not exactly anything spectacular. Do get some funds back though, which is all good. And now if you notice the map here from the, whatever it's called, the radar room, we can see that we've actually got a couple of places that we want to do a flyby of. But like I said earlier, in the last episode even, it's going to be difficult to actually do these contracts, because we don't have a space plane yet, and it's going to be a little while before we get the science to have a space plane, I think. So anyway, we're back to mission control, and set an altitude record of 56,000 meters is now there. Immediately going to accept that one. We want that reputation. We want to be known as the daredevil astronauts who are breaking new ground, or reaching out to the final frontier in this series. So let's see, we've got that one. We can activate one more as well. And let's see, radial decoupler over Kerbin. That's going to be difficult. That's quite a low altitude, and it wants us to be going pretty fast. In fact, oh man, we could do that, actually. We could do that. Let's see what else there is, though. I think that's going to be one of the easier ones. We want to test the radial mount parachute at 10,000 meters to 19,000 meters. Again, we could do that one. It's a little bit... what's going to give us the most science? Let's look at that one first. The Rockomax radial mount liquid engine splashed down at Kerbin. We could do that. I mean, we would have to hoist an engine up to 30 or 56,000 meters. But no, you know what? I'm going to go for the radial decoupler. I have a plan to how we can achieve that. 2,300 meters isn't very high. It wants us to be going quite fast, but that's all we can achieve with a solid rocket booster, even an SRB, which will be the RT-10, which we're going to strap to the side of our little vessel here. So we've got the radial decoupler. This is what we're testing, and we'll stick these guys on the side. That'll give us a nice little boost up, and suddenly Delta V is 4,200. That's a lot of Delta Vs right there, and well, we will stick our engine and our solid rocket boosters in the same stage. We'll drop them off, and I think that's going to be enough to reach the 56,000, was it 56,000 meters goal? Yeah, we should be able to do that easily. And obviously we're going to test our radial decouplers once we reach 2,300 meters. Now, I think in order to do that, we are going to have to reduce the solid fuel. The reason for this is because once these things are going, you can't shut them down. They go, and they will continue to burn until there's no fuel left. Now, if we want to test our decoupler, we're going to want to eject these things at 2,300 meters to 4,000 meters. And I don't want to be... Well, I don't want these guys to still be firing once we reach that height. So this might be a little trial and error. I'm going to go with this and hope it works. If not, we can always try the contract again next time. But 56,000 meters should be achievable with this little setup here. We don't need much more. So I'm going to throttle down completely on my liquid fuel. And we're going to try and pull this one off. Okay, throttle up. We are going fast enough, surely. Are we going fast enough yet? Oh no, we're slowing down. Ah, that's not worked. Eject them, eject them. I didn't put enough fuel in those guys, unfortunately. And now we're going to throttle down and try and reach 56,000 meters. That was a shame. I thought we would be able to make it, but we were really very close there. I should have put a little bit more fuel in them, and we would have been fine. Basically, what happened there was we fired the solid rocket boosters, but we didn't reach the speed and the altitude in time. And once the solid rocket boosters ran out of fuel, we weren't at the right altitude, so we started slowing down, which is not good. We also made our liquid fuel engine quite inefficient, and I'm worried now that we aren't actually going to have enough delta V to get ourselves to the 56,000 meter goal. We will see about that though. I mean, we're nearly at 10,000 meters already. We've still got a lot of fuel left here. We're about half depleted on fuel, and once we reach that 10,000 meters, we know that we are going to start speeding up quite quickly. So let's go. Let's speed things up slightly. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about the future of this series as well. As you know, we have got a ton of mods installed, and we've not really been able to see many of those mods yet because we are still in the very early stages of the career mode. But as things progress, we are going to be building some pretty hefty structures, including some massive space stations to do science with, and that should be awesome. But you may notice that it takes a little while to launch these vessels. It does take some time. And what I'm thinking of doing here is actually doing perhaps something along the lines of recording it and then doing post commentary rather than live commentary like this. And that way we can have the post commentary, which will be done to a kind of sped up launch thing. So you can see the vessels launching on your screens, but it'll be sped up, and I'll be doing post commentary so that it's not the same launching every time. We don't have to sit around for ages waiting for these vessels to get out into space. And especially once we start doing remote tech stuff, we will have to set up a series of communication satellites around Kerbal, and that's going to take quite some time. So things like that, the tedium, I will attempt to remove and do post commentary of. So I think we might just reach 56,000 meters. We're at 50,000 now. We've still got 500 meters a second of speed, and we are going to do that just fine. Those solid rocket boosters at the start, they're clearly giving us a boost, which is exactly what they're designed to do. So we're nearly there, 56 and done. Not bad at all. We are going to get ourselves a bunch of prestige, a bunch of money for that as well, which is great. And now we do another crew report. Oh, not quite. We can neatly do another crew report. I don't think, actually. You know what? Screw it. Screw it. We're going to go up to here. Oh. Did I want to do that? Did I want to do that? Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's turn ourselves back. I don't want to go over 70,000 meters, because if you guys remember, there was a contract. There was a contract. Go on, there we go. Hopefully that'll kill our speed enough. There was a contract in the mission control to escape Kerbin's atmosphere, and if we go above 70,000 meters, that's effectively going to be escaping Kerbin's atmosphere. So I've tried to slow us down there by turning our vessel back towards Kerbin, firing our engines just to slow our speed, and it seems to have worked. We are coming back down, and we didn't go over 70,000 meters. In Kerbal, 70,000 meters is the edge of space. And we narrowly avoided going over that. But we did make it. We have 56,000 meters. That's all good. And now we're going to speed things up as we come down on our long descent back to Kerbin. It will take us a little while to get down there. Even in 4 times speed, and we're going to be going pretty fast. In fact, we're going to be getting so fast as we come down that we may just start to burn up in the atmosphere. Having a quick look at this, oops, sorry about that, I had the wrong button. We're going at 800 meters per second. We're going to hit the atmosphere, and there's going to be some, well, there's going to be some flames, I think, or perhaps not. There we go. Yeah, a little bit of flaming there. Not the fastest re-entry, but certainly fast enough to cause some heat. And fortunately, I don't have deadly re-entry on, otherwise we might just be burning up and coming to a very swift end there. Good stuff. We'll deploy our chutes as we come down further, and this time we may just land. We might just land on the grassland here. Doing a crew report. Yes, we are over the grassland. We made it far enough to the left. So there's something on the wing. Something. Apparently we have wings, according to these guys. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, we're over the grassland, and that's good because we can get more science from here. And once we touch down, we'll be able to do an EVA, we'll be able to do another crew report, we'll be able to take an EVA from the ground. And to be honest with you, the more the merrier when it comes to science. You just can't have enough science. Obviously, we're yet to go to the moon or anything like that, but once we do, we're going to grab a lot of science from that, and it's still not going to be enough. My thirst for science is unquenchable. So we're coming down, watching that shadow as we fall down, and we're on a bit of a slope here. I think we might just fall over. Uh-oh, don't explode. Ah! Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. We lost one of our fuel tanks. That's not too bad, though. The engine's the expensive bit. Now we'll EVA out. We'll take our crew report, and we'll do an EVA here from flying over the grasslands, apparently. Mission control assures you not to panic. Well, yeah. I wouldn't be panicking myself if I was just clinging on to a little hatch here. So crew report again while we're landed. EVA out. We'll let go here. We will stand up proudly, and we will do another EVA from the ground. You want to take your helmet off and breathe the sweet air of your home planet. The air tastes of snacks, believe it or not. A little bit of Kerbal Space trivia for you there. So, there we go. We'll see if we can get back on. It's difficult to get onto these things again. Let's grab it. Come on. You can do it. Do it. Yes! In we go. Let's recover our vessel here. And we should be all good. 13 science acquired, not bad at all. We got some parts back. Of course, we got Jebediah back, and let's just check real quick right here. Yes, debris needs to be recovered as well. We'll recover that, get a few funds back, and suddenly we're sitting on 115,000 monies. And we can start to think about what we're going to spend that money on. But that will be for another episode. So thank you very much for watching, guys. As usual, I've been Zach, and this has been NovaStar International. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.